All right. So today we are going to discuss measures of central tendency. So before doing that, let's recall what we did in the last lecture. Uh, in the first two lectures, we started with describing statistics. There are two types of statistics. One is descriptive, one is inferential. And I also talked about data and variable, two types of variables, qualitative and quantitative, and then two types of quantitative variable, which were uh, discrete and continuous. So both represent data. Qualitative and quantitative variables, they both give you data in terms of tables as well as in terms of graphs. So now we are going to start measure of central tendency. So in next two lectures, we will discuss measure of center and measure of dispersion. Okay, center means the average of the data, the middle value of the data, and measure of dispersion means the spread of the data. Okay, how far the values lie from the middle point of the data. So let's start with measure of center. We call measure of center or measure of central tendency. Both words are used for this. Okay, and basically it's the average. All right, central tendency is the middle point of the distribution, and whatever measure we use to obtain this data value, that is called a statistic. It is not the subject statistics. Subject statistics is different. Okay, statistic as a singular, you see there is no s at the end. A statistic is a measure, is a characteristic or a measure obtained by using a data value from a sample. Okay, and if we use obtain the same thing, same data value, if we obtain that measure from the whole population, we call it a parameter. Okay, so that is the difference between statistic and a parameter. A statistic is a characteristic which is obtained from the sample, and a parameter is a measure obtained from the population. If you recall, in the last lecture we studied sample as well as the population. Okay, population is the whole thing, and if we uh, pick one thing out of it that is a subset of the whole population, is called the sample. So for the size of the sample we use small n, and for the size of population we use capital N. For example, if I'm picking up 10 students from a college or a university, if it is a sample, then 10 is my n. N is equal to 10. And if the total number of students in a university is, let's say, 2000, okay, then capital N will be 2000, because it's the size of our population. If you talk about the population of a city or a country, of course this capital N will be a very big number. All right, and then you can of course draw a sample from the population as large or as small as possible. So these are some notations. What we mean by central tendency, there are three types of central tendencies which we will discuss. One is called arithmetic mean, or simply the mean. When we just say mean, it automatically means that arithmetic mean. Second is median, and the third is mode. There are a couple of other types of measures of central tendency as well: geometric mean and harmonic mean. Okay, but we usually study these three. These three are important measures, so we study these three. If you Google, you can find geometric mean as well as the harmonic mean as well. But I will stick to these three measures: mean, median, and mode. Okay, so basically mean is the simple average which you use in your daily life. Okay, in a routine day life, we use this measure of central tendency. Let's say if you got uh, marks in 5 subjects, maybe in one subject you got 70, the other you got 80, in third one you got 90, 85, 75, like this. Then if I ask you what is the average, right, what you will do, you will add all 5 marks and divide by 5. That will give you the middle point, the average value of the data, right? So simple arithmetic mean is that average. So if you add x are the values of the data, okay, x are values of the data. So if you add up all the values of x and divide by the total number of values, it gives you the mean. And why I'm writing population mean? Because I am using the values from the population. See, capital N is a population size, and we use mu. Mu is a Latin letter, right? This is mu. So mu is mu, right? That is the pronunciation, mu. So mu is used for population mean, n is the sample size, and x are the sum of all observations. You see, these are the sum of values of all the observations. Why all? Because it is a population. So we added up all the values and then we divided by the number of elements in the population n. Okay, so if we on the other hand want to find the sample mean will be the same formula, sum of all the values, but now the values are coming from the sample. Okay, sum of all observation from sample, not from the population now. Okay, so just the sample values, all observation, but all observation from the sample, not the population. Okay, and divided by the total number of elements in the sample. So this will be your mean, the same formula, only the notation is different because sample size is small n, and here we use x bar. Okay, we put this bar at the top of x. So x bar is used for sample mean and mu is used for population mean. Okay, let's see this example. We have 10 observations here. See, 1 2 3, this is the serial number. So these are not the part of observation, it's a serial number. Downtime of generators at a particular station. Let's say we have a generators installed somewhere and there are 10 generators. So generator 1 has 7 days out of service. Downtime means when they are not in service, right? So 7 days, generator 1 remains off service 7 days in a month. Generator 2, 20 days out of service. Generator 3, only 4 days, and so on. So my population is my sample is basically this. Okay, these values, these 10 values are my sample. So if you want to find the mean, because information was not given to me in the question whether it's a population or a sample, usually this information is given in the question that consider the sample of 10 generators. Okay, then it means it is a sample, but finding mean will be the same thing. Okay, we only notation will be changed. So if we consider this as an entire population, I will use mu, which is summation x by n, and summation x means add all these values, 7 23 4 8 2. So see, 7 23 4 8 2 12 6 13 9 4. See, 12 6 13 9 4. So if you add all the observations, and how many observations are there? 10 observations. So we divide it by 10, so it is 8.8. And if we think this question as a sample, not the whole population, okay, then I can use x bar. Answer will remain the same, right? Because we are adding exactly same 10 values and dividing by 10. So my value will remain the same, 8.8, but my notation will change to x bar. Okay, so mu and x bar are just the notations for population and sample mean. Finding the method of finding these means is the same. Now group data is a problem. That is an ungrouped data. Why we call it ungrouped? Because this is the raw data given to me. Exact 10 quantities are given to me. Grouped data means when we make groups. When you make groups, then basically we make frequency distribution. Last time we studied how to make frequency distribution. So if I consider a frequency distribution, we call it a grouped data, and the finding the mean will be different because not all the values are given in the group data. You know, we make groups and we just write the number of items in the group, which is the frequency. Okay, so how to find mean for that? What we do, because not all x's are given to me, okay, instead of that some groups and are given and f are given. So let's say in the data, let's say x is equal to 1 was repeated 10 times. So in the in group data, what I will do, I will write x is equal to 1 only one times, and I will write the frequency. I will say that the number of time it is appearing is 10. Okay, similarly, if I have another number 3 and its frequency is 7, it means the data has 7 threes in it. So the data is 1 1 1 up to 10 times, right? And then 3 3 3 up to 7 times, right? This is my data. That's why we combine all these threes in one entry, all these ones in one entry. Okay, so this is the number of repetition. So what we do, how to find the mean, we just multiply these two, f with x. Why we multiply them? Because you see, I have to add 1 plus 1 plus 1 10 times. So if I add 1 10 times, what you will get? 10 into 1, right? Here I have to add 3 7 times. It means it is 7 into 3. If I add 3 7 times, my answer will be 21. So see what I'm doing, I'm multiplying my f with x. I'm multiplying my f with x and then adding them up. All right, so this is the reason we multiply f with x and get 10 here, then f with x get 21 here, and so on, and then we add up. So when I get the total of fx, this will give me the sum of fx. Okay, so this sigma notation, is for summation. This notation is sigma. We call it sigma, but this gives you the summation. Summation means the sum of values. These will be given, you see, when so the question is, can you repeat how we get f and x? Of course, if the frequency distribution is given, then these things will be given to you. Then x and f will be given to you, right? Because we are given frequency distribution. Okay, if it is not given, if the question is make the frequency distribution, okay, and then find the mean, it means then we have to group the values. You see, as I am giving you example, if 1 is appearing 10 times in the data, I will write 1 only once and write 10 as its frequency. 3 is appearing 7 times in the data, so I will just write 3 only once and write 7 as a frequency. Got it? So now if so if you have groups, then we have a problem. Okay, so I hope you understand why we are writing summation fx instead of just summation f. Basically now fx is also x. If we add x 10 times, I'm exactly getting fx. But here I have to add all values to get summation fx. Summation fx is the total of f and x multiplication. So if you have classes instead of x, if you have groups, let's say like this. This is a frequency distribution, no x is given to me, right? Groups are given to me. Here the question is, suppose that we have a frequency distribution of end of the month balance of 600 customers in a local bank. Let's say Bank Muscat or Bank Zulfar. You have 600 customers there, and you are checking how much balance they have at the end of some particular month. Let's say at the end of June, which just passed. So there were 78 customers whose balance was between 0 and $49.9. Okay, so this is given in dollars, not in reals. So 78 people had their balance less than 50. You can say that. Okay, 123 people had balance of between 50 and 100. More than 50, less than 100. Okay, so between that. So these are all the groups. Okay, so now I do not have an X in it. So what I will do, I will use X as a midpoint of each class. Okay, X will be the midpoint of each class. What is the midpoint of the class? Because I am considering my class from 0 to 50. My first class is from 0 to 50. So the midpoint will be 25. Okay. What is the difference? You see 0 and 50 gives you 25. Now the class interval is 50, right? Class interval is 50. So I can keep on adding 50 here. So this will be 75. This will be 125. This will be 175 and so on. Okay. So these are the midpoint. So these two columns will be given. These two columns will be given to you. Classes and the frequency, this will be given to you. You have to find the midpoint X, and then the last column will be F into X. You will multiply your F with X. So you will multiply frequency with your X, multiply and write it here. Okay. So for example, 78 into 25 you will write here. 123 into 75 you will write it here. And then you keep on adding unless you get your summation Fx. Okay. So this will be summation. Now what is your summation F? Your N. N is the total number of customers. N is this, right? N is this. 600 customers. N or capital N. If you think this is a population, then capital N. So basically capital N is the sum of your frequency. Okay. So sum of frequency is your N, capital or small. If you treat this as a sample, you can treat as small n, or if you treat this as a population, then you can call it capital N. Okay. So in the next slide, we calculated everything. So here you see, I'm calculating the midpoint. So first midpoint is 25 because I'm considering from 0 to 50. So between 0 and 50, you have 25. Now 25. Now you don't have to get midpoint. What you can do, keep on adding 50 here. Keep on adding 50. So 75, 125, 175, 225, 275, 325, 375, 425, and 475. These are your midpoints. Now we will keep on multiplying these. So if I multiply 78 by 25, it is 1950. You can use your calculator right now and see you are getting these answers or not. Multiply 123 with 75, you will get 9,225. So if you keep on multiplying this with this, you will get this number. Okay. So you are multiplying corresponding X, 78 with 25, 123 with 75, and so on. Now what do I need? I multiply all of them. Now I will add these and get the summation. Okay. So this is your summation F of X, 85,350. This is your summation F into X. You don't have to see, maybe this multiplication sign is little confusing for you. So you can just write it summation F and X. You can use small x for the observations, right? So summation Fx, no need to put this multiplication sign here. Okay. But if you put multiplication sign, do not confuse this with this X. F is frequency, X is your observations. This is a multiplication sign. Even if you don't put it, no problem. Okay. Divided by N. So if we are treating this as a sample. So we got summation Fx divided by N. Simplify, 142.25 is your midpoint. Okay. This is your mean. Any questions? Is that okay? Understood? So frequency distribution will be given to you. Either X and F will be given, or classes and frequency will be given. If X and F are given, you can start multiplying F with X. If classes are given, then you have to find the midpoint first. After finding the midpoints, then multiply these two. Then multiply F with X and write it here. Okay. And you need just two totals. You do not need this total. Don't get this total because summation X is never used. Summation F is used, which is your N, and summation Fx is used, which is the sum of all observations. Okay. Okay. So no questions. All right. So let's go to the next one. So now the next measure of center was median. How to find median? For ungrouped data, median is very easy. Okay, ungrouped means no frequency distribution, just raw data is given to you. All the observations are written, frequencies are not given to you. So this is the middlemost value. Middlemost or most central value of the data is called the median. Okay, it may not be equal to the mean and it will not be equal to mean. Okay, so now if you have I don't know why it's on the right side, it is n plus 1 by 2, and you will calculate n plus 1 by 2. This is the item. If you arrange the data, then this will be your median. Okay, total number of elements in the data are n. So first we have to arrange. Don't forget to arrange the data. In mean, you don't have to arrange because you have to add all the values. So it doesn't matter you arrange them or not. Just add them and divide by the total values, right? That will give you the mean. But in the median, you have to arrange the data. So for example, these are your 7 items: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So are they arranged? Yes, they are data array. See, smaller is at the beginning, then 4.37855 5.19.0. So this is arranged. This is array. You see, we call it data array. Array is arranged data, ascending or descending order. Okay, in ascending or descending order. So this is arranged data. So what we will do, we will say calculate. This is not the median. Remember, median is n plus 1 by 2th item. Okay, so let's arrange. What is n? There are n is 7 because there are 7 items. So n is 7. So if you add 1 in 7 divide by 2, it is 4. So it means my median is the 4th item. So this is first item, second item, third item, and this is my 4th item. This is the 4th item. So my median is 4.8. Okay, so your median is 4.8 because this was your 4th item. This is the first item, second item, third item, 4th item. So n plus 1 by 2 is not the median. It is the item, 4th item. If we have 8 items, then there will be a problem. You see, there is no middle point. You see here, there are 3 on the left, 3 on the right. Okay, so I got the middle value. But if there are 8 items, then there are 4 on the left, 4 on the right. Then where is the median? So median will be right between these two. So how we will find? We will add these two and divide by 2. We will add 43 and 35. These are not arranged. First we will arrange it, and then we will add middle 2 and divide by 2. Okay, so first of all, now it is see 4.5 items because 8 plus 1 by 2 is 4.5. So 4.5 is the middle one. Okay, so it is arranged from a descending order, from bigger to smaller. No problem, you can arrange it in any order. So now if you add middle 2 points, these two, median is in the middle. So we will add these two and divide by 2. Okay, so here I added and divided by 2. So the median is 39, which is right in the middle of the data. Got it? So if you have odd number of values, you will get the central point. But if you have the median, then at the center you get 2 values at the center. So I will get the midpoint of the 2 central values. So median for the ungrouped data is very, very easy. All right. So for ungrouped data is not a problem. For grouped data, there can be a problem, right? So we will have to make a formula, and the formula may be little tricky, but after a couple of examples, you will see it will not be very bad. Okay, I think Zoom is giving me notice that my 40 minutes are ending. So let me stop this lecture here and start again. Okay, I send you, you have the ID and password, so join me again in 5 minutes. Okay, let's have 5 minutes break and make a new session for 40 minutes. and hopefully in 25 to 30 minutes, I will end this lecture. Got it? So see you in 5 minutes. Okay. This lecture I'm stopping right now.